Our final match of the night on day number one of this 2018 NCCA Division II Women's Volleyball Championship from Bob Jones University here in Greenville, South Carolina. Hi, everybody. It's Rick Cooper, one of the voices of the NCCAA, and it's great to have you with us. It's been a wild day, a little bit late getting rolling with this one, originally slated for a 6 p.m. start. We'll throw the volleyball up. We'll have first serve at right around 6:45, so should be a good one. Bob Jones University, the number one overall seed, now 32-5, and they'll take on a hungry Johnson University team out of the Mideast region in Knoxville, Tennessee. The Royals have had a great year, 26-8 overall. They are 9-1 against Mideast region foes. Bob Jones University 12-0 against teams in that South region. Johnson is now 14-3 against Division II schools. Bob Jones University a perfect 13-0. They have won 40 out of 44 sets against Division II schools. That is a 91% winning percentage. The Royals were here a year ago and did not record a win in a set or a match. They went 0 for 3 in matches. They went 0 for 9 in sets a season ago. Losses in pool play to number 2 Randall, to number 3 Maranatha, and to number 6 Toccoa Falls. They are led by third-year head coach Robin Vanoy, 49 years old, the 2018 Mideast Region Coach of the Year, a native of Morristown, Tennessee. Maybe the most interesting tidbit on Vanoy is the fact that she drives an hour and 15 minutes to practice every day. Teaches at a high school in Morristown, Tennessee, and a husband picks her up. They make that trek every day, and boy, when you start school at 7:30 in the morning at your public school and you're getting home at 9, 10 o'clock every night, that wears on you. But loves Johnson University athletics, loves the opportunity to merge athletics and Jesus. For Bob Jones University, 62-year-old Vicki Denny in her 35th season. 14 times she has been a national champion, 13 of them at Clearwater Christian, 1 at Maranatha Baptist University. Was at Clearwater Christian when they found out on June 5th of 2015 that the school would be closing on June 30th. They had no idea it was coming, absolutely shocked, and she said, boy, it's an extra special blessing when you get to coach again in her third year here at Bob Jones, as they have started intercollegiate athletics after kind of being known as the best intramural program in the country. They have started them, and boy, they've started with a bang, as now, as we said, just in year 3, 32-5 and the number one overall seed in this national championship. Bob Jones, the 1 seed on the near side of your screen in white. Johnson University, the visiting blue with the orange trim on the far side of your screen, and quickly it is 2-0 Bruins. Ball in the hands here of a first-team All-American freshman. Talking about Brooke Beaver, probably the Bruins' hardest hitting outside hitter. And that one's going to drop in, and it's now 3-0. Obviously, if you're Johnson, your season is on the line here. Bob Jones could lose and win tomorrow and still live to talk about it. For Johnson, there is a tomorrow, but it's a meaningless tomorrow in terms of getting to a national championship. You are mathematically eliminated if you lose this match tonight. So, used to be a 10-team tournament. This is our third year with 8 teams, and well, there's just not much margin for error when you're in a pool with 4 teams. You play everybody once on either day 1 or day 2, and the top 2 teams out of each pool advance to the national semifinals at 5:30 or 7:30 tomorrow night. The number 1 seed out of this pool will play number 2 out of Pool B tomorrow at 5:30. The number 2 team out of this pool, which appears as of right now to be Emmaus Bible, well, it would be Emmaus and Bob Jones would be the top 2 if things progress the way that are anticipated. That number 2 team would play at 7:30 against the number 1 seed from Pool B. But used to be a little bit more margin for error when there were 10 teams. Now it's real simple. I was kind of punching the numbers at home. There's no mathematical way you can finish 1 and 2 in your pool and advance to the national semi. So Johnson, with a loss earlier today, absolutely must win right now if they want to have a shot at getting to the national semifinals. It is all Bob Jones here early, 5-1. And in the middle, it's Catherine Ring, and that one never got there. They're going to call 4 hits. Boy, Catherine Ring was absolutely en fuego earlier today in their straight set win against Randall University, 25-16, 25-17, 25-19. And we touched on it in the broadcast earlier that doesn't get a ton of swings, and that's what impressed us, the number of kills compared with the number of swings. She is highly efficient with the opportunities that are presented to Catherine Ring, and still only a sophomore, I think 18 years old, graduated early, a very bright young lady, so obviously going to continue just to get better, especially under the direction of Vicki Denny. But here early, it's 5-3, now 6-3 Bob Jones. And the ball here in the hands of Lauren Muckenschnabel, who is a back row specialist. And received on that back row at the other end by Troxel. It was an overpass, and Catherine Ring absolutely hammered it home and said thank you very much. Now 7-3 Bruins. Muckenschnabel, the sophomore from Chicago, Illinois. Back row attack, a flat-footed attack by Troxel. Again, it was an overpass, and this time a little bit too strong out of the hand of Catherine Ring. Stops the bleeding momentarily, the side out to Johnson. The Royals trailing 7-4. And the ball here in the hands of Cheyenne Zorn. First-year player for the Royals. Her and her sister Burgundy are quite a story, and that one out of bounds off the Royals. Cheyenne Zorn, sister Burgundy, made the move here from the great state of California, Corona, California to be exact, and when they decided to make the move, the entire family went with them, and that includes grandma, that includes aunt. Made the move to Knoxville, Tennessee. Quisenberry, first time we've called her name, scholar athlete, second team All-American, and Brooke Beaver on an attack attempt that never got over the net. It's 4 hits. And a side out to Johnson. Danielle Quisenberry, first team in the region, second team All-American. A punch in a small package is what Robin Vanoy said about Quisenberry. He's played in all 111 sets, 30 aces, 4th best on the team. Down the line and a free ball by Beaver. Quisenberry nearly went down as an attack, and now a free ball to return the favor. We'll see if they can take advantage, and Bob Jones doesn't. It's a block as they met her at the net, and Johnson a block, and they kept it in play. Nicely done. So the serve stays in the hands of Quisenberry. Bob Jones with an 8-6 advantage. Received by Selena Walker, the libero. Little cross-court attack, and it's perfectly done by Brooke Beaver. Makes it 9-6. Substitution, Catherine Ring will sit down. Jordan Anderson will come into that front row. Anderson, a bright spot for Vicki Denny, kind of the surprise of 2018, according to the Bruins head coach. Walker, the serve here, the libero. Crook sets up one of the swingers for Johnson, handled by Bob Jones. Couple swings up there by the Bruins, and it's controlled by the Royals. Another opportunity here. Rachel Williams to the middle, and Anderson. Battle near the net. Kept alive on the Bruins side and punched over by Beaver, and Beaver strikes again. And very impressed with Brooke Beaver. She was one of the big recruits that Vicki Denny felt like they must have if they were going to take the next step forward with this volleyball program in its infancy. Here in year number 3, they got Beaver. They got Rachel Williams to come back, their All-American setter, who really had announced last season with her marriage last December that last season would be her last one, and kind of had a change of heart. The team had to get together after she had missed all of spring volleyball to approve it, and Vicki Denny said it had to be unanimous, and it was. And so you piece in a Brooke Beaver with a Gaston, with a Rachel Williams, and Catherine Ring, a second-team All-American, and slowly but surely, Vicki Denny doing what she has done for 35 years, and that's build a pretty good volleyball program. So timeout Robin Vinoy, as it has been all Bruins early, 12-6. We're in set number 1. You're watching the 2018 National Volleyball Championship here on the NCCAA Sports Network. 12-6, Bob Jones, number 1, leads number 5. The message from Robin Vinoy a year ago as they made their first national tournament appearance was enjoy the experience. This year she said, Rick, we want to enjoy the experience and we want to win. We want to play on Saturday. We want to play on Friday night. And so they have tried to mix this, say, we're happy to be here. This is a big accomplishment. But it was obvious in talking with her that the expectations, the goals of this weekend have increased a little bit from a season ago. 12-7, side out Royals. Rachel Williams, their All-American setter, and she sets up Brooke Beaver. It's a pretty good combination. Rachel Williams, 9 assists per set, which is number 1 in America. Second-team All-American the past 2 seasons. Named the first-team All-American this year and the South Region Player of the Year. Down the line, a swing up there by Wilder, and it's a point. Have not called her name a lot today. Probably the top hitter returning from a season ago. The sophomore from Morristown, Tennessee. 2-year starter at outside hitter. It is giving Robin Vinoy 2.2 kills per set. On serve receive, it's Walker. Left side to the back middle. Scooped up there by the libero. Battle near the net. It was a back row attack that Anderson nearly put down for Bob Jones. Williams, left side. Beaver does it again. You've got to respect her power, but there's plenty of finesse as well. A great touch for the freshman, Brooke Beaver, out of Kissimmee, Florida. We said earlier today, has a 2-year associate's degree that she brought with her from high school. So the question was, how long would she be at Bob Jones? Vicki Denny said at least a couple years. You know, she could do some graduate work here, but young lady bright in the classroom. Not many kids can say they leave high school with an associate's degree. Brooke Beaver can. Williams down the line with a quick set, low set there to Anderson, who had trouble doing anything with it. Down the line, Wilder had a maneuver and dropped it in. Boy, that was a tough play by Kelly Wilder. Had to extend to her left in midair just to get to it. And then to have the ability to keep it in play the way she did was special. So Johnson trailing by a half dozen, 15-9. Back set here to Anderson, who was stuffed up front. It was an attack attempt, a block attempt by Quisenberry. She got a touch but couldn't keep it in play. And so it will go down as an attack for Jordan Anderson. We'll step back and serve it here. Down the line, it's Quisenberry around the antenna. No, hit the antenna. And it's another point for the Bruins. Jordan Anderson, a middle hitter that getting a chance to hit in this back row. Doesn't happen. Selena Walker, the libero. One of just a couple substitutions. Not a lot that Vicki Denny does. Libero comes in for both middles, Anderson and Ring. And typically serves for Ring. And then Muckenschnabel comes in that back row for the right side player, Laura Gaston, and that set there over the head of Ring, and it's too tall for Ring and too short for Courtney Bates, who was lingering behind her. 17-10, Bruins lead is 7. Monica Gardner with her first serve of this opening set, and going right through a Johnson block was 18 Courtney Bates, the sophomore from Prairie Farm, Wisconsin, had 7 kills and 8 digs earlier today in Bob Jones' straight set win over number 8 Randall University. Back row on serve receive, the Johnson libero. Bree Knatzer, have not called her name yet today, and Right down the line, the Bruins strike again. Pulling away in this opening set. It's 19-10. Bree Knatzer, a co-captain on this team. It's now a 9-point advantage. Knatzer on serve receive. Quisenberry took it right to a block attempt. Bruins kept it alive. Selena Walker, the libero from that back row. Right side, down the line, and it dropped in. Well, it stops the bleeding momentarily. Cheyenne Zorn, the transfer from Thomas Edison State University in Trenton, New Jersey. Didn't play volleyball there. First year with Johnson, but because of some rules that I didn't understand all of it, this is the only year of eligibility that Cheyenne Zorn has. So Burgundy Zorn, her sister, will have a couple more years of eligibility, but not Cheyenne. Williams going to give it to that left side, and Bates, who finessed it in again. Boy, big hole there. Gotta think somebody's got to get to that one. Substitution coming in, Hannah Satterfield, 5'7" freshman from Maryville, Tennessee, has appeared in 44 of 111 sets. As Quisenberry will sit down, it's 20-11. And that may be Robin Vinoy kind of throwing in the towel here on set number one and trying to get a little bit of experience for a couple of her reserves. Back row attack there by Cheyenne Zorn. Down the line, Beaver with a cross-court attack. Knatzer wanted to get there, but she was frozen by the power of Brooke Beaver. 21-11, Robin Vinoy going to call a timeout here in set number one. So Johnson University in big trouble. The Royals trail by 10, 21-11. Again, in a must-win situation for the Royals. Bob Jones could lose this second match of the day. They could go to 1-1 and still live to talk about it. They would be in a must-win situation tomorrow against number 4 Emmaus if they lose this one tonight. But right now in the driver's seat, look poised to go up 1-0. If the Bruins win tonight, then they have punched their ticket to the national semis. The only thing we're waiting on at that point is the results of number 1 Bob Jones, number 4 Emmaus. And that game is slated tomorrow for a noon start. We'll have it for you here on court number 1. And if Emmaus were to take care of business on the other side against Randall, then that's exactly what would happen. It would be number 1 Bob Jones, number 4 Emmaus, both teams in. And the winner, the number 1 team out of Pool A, the loser, the number 2 team out of Pool A. The winner, again, would play at 5:30. The loser would play at 7:30. And right now, Emmaus, I don't know if they're up 2-0 or 1-0. I know they are up in that match. We'll try to give you a score. They're resetting the scoreboard on the other end right now. The libero, Selena Walker, to Williams. Beaver wasn't perfectly placed on her set, but she was able to get something on it, put it onto the Johnson side. And that one, I think, dropped in or no. No, a little bit too strong. From the hand of Hannah Satterfield. Satterfield, a homeschooled girl, who had 1 total kill coming into this championship, as we said, in 44 sets played. 22-11, Bruins have doubled up the Royals here. First set of a best of 5, number 1 and number 5. Down the line, Beaver, sky high, and she put it in again. Well, I want to see somebody, this is going to get interesting. Is there anybody in this championship that can deal with Brooke Beaver? We haven't seen anybody on day 1. She has been very effective, and Catherine Ring has been next to impossible to guard in the middle as well. Back row attack there by Knatzer. And in the middle, Catherine Ring doing what she does best. Bringing heat in the middle. Vicki Denny called her raw a year ago. Really has matured in her play, according to Denny. 24-11, talking about Catherine Ring, has really taken some significant steps forward and a service error there. Out of the hand of Courtney Bates, makes it now 24-12, and Royals will put the volleyball in the hands of Hannah Satterfield here. Bruins a point away from an opening set convincing win here on their home floor in Greenville, South Carolina. Into the middle, ring, she finishes it. Boy, not much resistance at the net, and they were slow moving to get to it in that back row. Well, it was all Bob Jones in the opening set. Number 1 beats number 8 by the score of 25-12. We'll have set number 2 from the 2018 NCCAA Division II National Championships after this time out here on the NCCAA Sports Network. Rick Cooper, the NCCAA Sports Network, welcoming you back to Bob Jones University here in Greenville, South Carolina. 15 volleyball matches. We started at noon today. We capped things off Saturday at 1 p.m. with the national championship. Maranatha has won 3 national titles in a row. Everybody else in this championship field empty in terms of national championships. A lot of programs that haven't had a lot of national championship experience in their first year, second year, maybe third year in this tournament. And a lot of that maybe has to do with the movement in the NCCAA Division II. You look back over the last 5 or 10 years and you think of Clearwater Christian closing, and you look at schools like Kentucky Christian, who was such a power at this level, moving up. Lincoln Christian out of Lincoln, Illinois, who was a power for several years, moving up, and it has opened up some opportunities for some other schools, and they have stepped in. Maranatha may be the 3-time national champs. They may have 9 of them in their school history, but boy, they were on the ropes earlier, just a few moments ago, against number 6 Toccoa Falls, and somehow Regina Delosier and the SaberCats squeezed out a 15-13 win in a 5th and deciding set. I think they were down, Kent Delosier and I were talking, I think they were down 13-9 in that 5th set. I think, I'd have to go to the video to prove it, that they ran off 6 in a row to win, but boy, the message from Maranatha that we take again, maybe not as many pieces as a year ago or 2 years ago when they had Allie Renz and Lexi Butel, but as we said, I know it's cliche, but we mean it. You don't underestimate the heart of a champion, a team that has been there, has tasted a national championship, is battle-tested, and then on the Toccoa side, and I don't know how to say it any clearer or any more politely, but when you have somebody on the ropes, I don't care if you're playing horseshoes, hand grenades, basketball, ping pong, miniature golf, when you have somebody in a vulnerable position on the ropes, you have got to knock them out at that point. And Toccoa Falls had several opportunities with Maranatha up against the ropes, and they did not finish the job. It is simply, give credit. It's maybe not a criticism of Toccoa. Maybe it's a compliment to Maranatha, but, and you got to finish it off when you have an opportunity to do so. So Bob Jones University finished things off in that opening set, 25-12. They have switched sides, so you are looking right now at Sydney Crook, the setter for Johnson University, with the serve and now a dig there. As Johnson in the visiting blue, the number 5 seed on the near side of your screen. Bob Jones University, the 1 seed in white on the far side. Rachel Tubbs-Williams setting up an attack there by Gaston, who hits one down the line for another Bruins point. Brooke Beaver, 11 kills, 11 digs, a double-double on 18% attack percentage earlier today in their win against Randall. Wilder did a good job as she navigated near the net. Into the middle, it's Anderson, scooped up by Quisenberry, off the wall and out of play. Johnson University down in Knoxville, Tennessee. Folks may also know their second school, Johnson University in Florida, formerly Florida Christian College, assumed leadership of that university. Boy, things blend together. I would say probably 5 or 6 years ago. And that school was in all kinds of trouble. And Johnson University in Tennessee has some of the resources to come in and help, and they did. Independent Christian Church, Church of Christ School, that beautiful campus down there at Johnson, building a brand new athletic facility, recreation center. They call it the Arc. It was scheduled to open this November, has been delayed a bit till March, and could very possibly be the home of a future NCCAA basketball national championship. Brandon Perry, their outstanding athletic director and men's basketball coach, one of the good guys at the NCCAA 2 level. Consider him a good friend, has found some good men too out of that Johnson program that have received awards for just have been finalists for the Maravich Award National Player of the Year. I've had a chance to interview some of them, and quality young men. So, but it's a brand new facility down there. I think it's going to have 4 volleyball courts, 2 basketball courts, a swimming pool, a game room, a lounge, and just a state-of-the-art facility. If you've got time, Google the Arc at Johnson University, Tennessee, and take a look at some of the information on that fine facility. Second set here, Bob Jones the 1, Johnson University the 5, and Bruins lead the Royals 5-4. Serve here by Anderson. Back set here to Monica Gardner. Stuff back onto the Johnson side. Cut shot there by number 7, Cheyenne Zorn, as she had to navigate around the antenna. Did a good job to keep it in play, and the ball goes out of bounds. Back to Johnson. Get our first look at Burgundy Zorn, number 27. Sophomore from Corona, California. First year with Johnson. The transfer from Life Pacific College out in San Dimas, California. Sister is Cheyenne Zorn. Back row attack, Gardner hit the tape. Scooped up by Bates. Little give and go as they give it right back to Bates. Burgundy Zorn hobbling up front. Gonna try to play through this here. Maybe her first possession, her first rally getting into the match. Not sure if it's a knee or just twisted an ankle, but either way, she is kind of fighting for her life right now in the middle of your screen. And I think Robin Vanoy going to probably pull her out of this now. They're going to keep her in there. Our R1 checking on Burgundy Zorn to make sure she's all right, but Robin Vanoy off the bench. Not sure if she's not happy with her team or the R1, but was hollering over there. I'm not sure she saw Burgundy limping around in that front middle position. Down the line, it's Quisenberry. Tried to go right through a block of Ring and Williams. Didn't complete or terminate the play, but did get it through him, and that one out of play. And a side out to Bob Jones. Bruins won the opening set. They lead here in set number 2, 7-5. Trying to stay perfect this year against Division II schools at 14-0. Trying to stay perfect in Pool A play. And advance out of day 1 with a 2-0 record and a ticket punched to the national semifinals. Of course, led by Vicki Denny. You've heard all the accolades on what she has done at Clearwater Christian. You may have not known that her first national championship was actually won at Maranatha back in 1987, the first one ever at that school. They would go on to win 8 more, including the last 3, but what you may not know is the fact that she's winning at a 72% clip here at Bob Jones. So she comes in, they say, we want to start intercollegiate athletics. And folks, usually there's some growing pains. There's a lot of Division II schools that would die to have a season. And they've been around for 50 years, some of them, 50, 60 years. They would die to have a season where they win 72% of their games. It doesn't usually happen when you're starting from scratch, and that's what Vicki Denny has done here at Bob Jones University. She won 23 of 25 South Region championships during her time at Clearwater Christian and has won all 3 South Region championships during her time here at Bob Jones. Bruins lead is 9-7, makes it 10-7. Ring will sit down as Anderson is back in. This is Selena Walker, the junior from Pine Grove, Pennsylvania. Had 22 digs earlier today, third year with Bob Jones, 2 years as the starting libero after starting as an undersized outside hitter back in her freshman campaign of 2016. Good dig there by Selena Walker. Punched over the net by Beaver. Crook going down the line for Wilder. Handled over there by Beaver, who plays all the way around. Controlled by Johnson. A little bit out of system, a lot out of system, as Cheyenne Zorn doing the setting there. Scooped up back row by Knatzer for Johnson. Williams into the middle, not on the same page, and still able to get it over the net. Left side, Wilder, and a dig in the back row by Muckenschnabel. Here's Beaver, scooped up back row. Down the line, and Wilder, it's a free ball as that set a little bit off the mark. Right side, Anderson with a slide attack, scooped up by Quisenberry, and a cut shot in the middle, and Wilder finally terminates the play. Royals within 2. Ready to serve it here is Bree Knatzer. Beaver with some power there. Nice dig by Quisenberry, and they're going to get a lift or a double hit on number 4, Sydney Crook, the freshman setter. Takes over from Madison Smith, who did not return after averaging 7.1 assists a season ago. Really has it's been a boost, I would say that. I could tell talking to Robin Vanoy that not only has Crook matched a lot of what the setter from a year ago did, I think there's just a different spirit about how Sydney Crook has done it too. And it has really rubbed off on this team, the encourager that she is, how selfless she is as the setter in this program. And that one off the mark from Rachel Williams. It's a service error. That'll stop the bleeding here. Number 1, Bob Jones. Number 5, Johnson University. 2 of our 4 region champions. Number 7, Arlington Baptist, one of the others. Maranatha Baptist out of the North region, the 4th. And that one ends up at press row. Got the blue crew here with us. Vicki Denny touched on this group of guys that have followed them faithfully this year and says, boy, they have made a big difference and will make a big difference at this national championship. Knatzer to Crook over the net. Down the line and punched in nearly. Good effort by Kelly Wilder to keep it alive for Johnson. And it drops in again. Boy, those are ones right there in a national championship. Somebody's got to pick that up. That's a lack of communication between Cheyenne Zorn and Danielle Quisenberry. There wasn't much on it. It wasn't placed exceptionally well, and nobody even got a piece of it. So some lack of communication there, and maybe why Robin Vanoy has called a timeout with the Bruins opening up now a 14-9 advantage. See what everyone's talking about? Visit greenvillesc.com. From beautiful landscapes to a small town Main Street, it's no wonder people from all over the world are visiting. Check out Greenville, South Carolina. Women's Volleyball Championship brought to you by Aramark, with expertise in food, uniforms, and facilities. Aramark lets you focus on what you do best. Aramark, we dream. And we do, and we say thanks to Ben Bellarmine, Dan Wood, Kelly Wood, and the rest of the team at the NCCAA. Celebrating 50 years recently. They promote outreach and ministry through athletic competition with a Christian perspective. You can find out more by visiting thenccaa.org. What a treat to be here. I want to say thanks to the NCCAA. I'm going to show my age a minute. Now, before I tell you this, I started doing games when I was 18 years old and a freshman at a Christian college. This is my 38th national championship. And I tell you what, I hope I'm around, and I hope they hire me to do 38 more. Absolutely love it. So we say thanks to Ben Bellman, Dan Wood. Say thanks to the folks at Bob Jones University as well that have taken good care of me. Talking about Neil Ring, Johnny Gammett, Dan Boone, and others. So back to volleyball, and a back set there by Crook, and not the way they drew it up. Again, some miscommunication there, and Bob Jones beginning to pull away a little bit here in set number 2. 15-9, good effort by Crook to get there, and it's a free ball over the net by Cheyenne Zorn. Left side, down the line, it's Bates, handled by Quisenberry. Pushed over on a setter dump attempt by Crook, and now a touch by Selena Walker, and it'll go down as a Royals point. Now 15-10. This is Candace Troxel, one of their defensive specialists. Sophomore from Newport, Tennessee. Plays basketball as well. She's the only dual sport athlete currently on this Johnson University volleyball team. Quisenberry up high, but met at the net. Met at the net by Anderson and Gaston. It's an assisted block, and it's now 16-10. Serve here by Anderson. Up front, it's Crook. Trying to find Gardner on that right side. Controlled, and an attack here there by Bates. We'll keep the possession with Johnson, and the Royals are within 5. It's 16-11. In a lot of ways, the next 9 points may be the Royals' season here, fighting for their playoff lives. And again, some miscommunication there. Give credit to Bob Jones. They continue to find some of the gaps in this Johnson University defense. Ready is Lauren Muckenschnabel. This is going to be a free ball over the net by the libero Knatzer. Into the middle, Ring, and Ring hammered it home. There are not many times that Catherine Ring goes to finesse. She wants to punish you. And one of the things Vicki Denny said heading into this championship, she really has embraced the role as the defensive stopper in the middle as well, and really is looking for an opportunity to shut down anybody in this championship that could cause them trouble from the middle hitter spot. 18-12. Royals hanging around. They need a mini run here desperately. Slide attack by Ring. This one scooped up and punched over the net. Good emergency contact back there by Muckenschnabel. Saved him a point. Left side, Quisenberry went to some finesse over that front line, but right there to play it was Beaver. Left side, Quisenberry bringing power again, and it drops. It's an assisted block for Rachel Tubbs-Williams and Catherine Ring. That's just a lot of size there. What a luxury it is to have a 5'11" setter in a 5'1" offense. Talking about Rachel Williams, and Catherine Ring listed at 5'11" as well. Troxel, Quisenberry, and this time a touch and a point. Not going to stop Daniel Quisenberry from trying. Quisenberry, the junior from Seymour, Tennessee, 3-year player. Counseling major, 4.0 student, scholar athlete, and a second-team All-American. But Mayes has just knocked off Randall in straight sets at the other end. Final score in that third set was 25-12. I take that back. We may be heading to a third set at the other end. I think that's what we've got. Randall down 2-0. And an overpass that Brooke Beaver hammers in. Boy, Knatzer got it in the air just by being there and ricocheting off her arm, but Thought maybe Johnson would keep it alive, but they could not do it. And it's a point for Bob Jones, and it's a timeout here for Robin Vanoy. Timeout on the floor, 20-13 Bruins. We are in set number 2 here at the NCCAA Sports Network. Bob Jones 20, Johnson 13. We're in set number 2. It's our final match of the night. Began at noon today, each team playing 2 matches in their pool. And right now we finish up with Pool A action. Back row attack here by Quisenberry. And a battle near the net going to be kept alive by Johnson. A free ball over the net by Knatzer. Handled by Williams. A slide attack by Anderson. Scooped up by Quisenberry, but it's an overpass. We'll see if the Bruins can take advantage, and they do. Didn't look like they were going to take advantage. But again, miscommunication. That's how I would describe this second set. Johnson has hung around and done some good things, but just too many volleyballs dropping in between players who are looking at each other as if to say, I thought you were going to take care of it. That's miscommunication. That's talking, which is critical to just about any sport. Williams, free ball over the net. Up front, a little push over the net by the setter Crook. Handled by the Bruins. And an opportunity here in the middle. And it was Burgundy Zorn, who looks like maybe she has shaken off that injury, that ankle injury a moment ago. Zorn to Selena Walker. Williams now to Beaver. Zorn, make that Anderson, I beg your pardon. Pushed over the net this time by Kelly Wilder and out of play. And it'll go down as a Johnson point. So looks like at the other end it is now set number 4. And Emmaus maybe with a 2-1 advantage, possibly. So I'll try to give you an update on that, but that looks to be the case, that maybe they are headed to a 4th set down there. So Randall, like Johnson, trying to find a way to steal one here late tonight and keep their playoff hopes, their national championship hopes alive. Crook down on that left side to Wilder, who dropped it in. 21-15, number 1 leads number 5. If you're Robin Vanoy, if you're not going to win this second set, doggone it, you better have some confidence and some momentum going into the third. But that one is too strong, but a touch on Johnson. It's now 22-15. So the Bruins 3 points away from a second set win and a commanding 2-0 advantage. Left side, Wilder up high, try to go through the block. A touch up front, handled by the Bruins. Again, a battle near the net, and Gaston wins that battle. She went right through Monica Gardner and Kelly Wilder. Now 23-15. Back row received as Quisenberry. A little change of pace as they go with Gardner. And a lift is going to be the call on the Bruins, and it's now 23-16. Good decision there by Johnson. Change tempo, change pace. Use the athleticism of Monica Gardner in the middle. 23-16, and a miscommunication on the other side of the net, as Courtney Bates and Brooke Beaver not on the same page. And it's now 23-17, so the Royals continue to fight. Champions of the Mid-East region, and that one a service error. And Sydney Crook, who came in with 54 aces, a team high, a little bit too strong there. So now 24-17, this is set point. Wilder and Johnson in all kinds of trouble, but they keep it alive. Good effort by Crook, who was near the scorer's table, but this one, not much she could do with that, as Courtney Bates just hammered it home. So Bob Jones goes up 2-0, 25-12 in the first set, and they win this second set by the final of 25-17. They'll try to sweep it and punch their ticket to the national semifinals. We'll have the third set, number 1, Bob Jones, number 5, Johnson. You're watching the 2018 NCCAA National Volleyball Championships here on the NCCAA Sports Network. Update from Pool A play, I beg your pardon. Court 2, Randall University, the number 8 seed, actually won that opening set against number 4, Emmaus. 25-22. Emmaus has run off 2 in a row, 25-12, 25-12. So Emmaus right now with a 2-1 advantage in that best of 5, and that fourth set right now tied at 7 apiece on the other end on court number 2. And again, it's one of those scenarios where if you're Emmaus and they don't win tonight, they're not mathematically eliminated, still right in the hunt, but they would have to win tomorrow then against Bob Jones University. If Bob Jones wins here on court number 1 and goes to 2-0, and Emmaus wins on court 2 and goes to 2-0, then our national semifinals have been punched. At least we know the 4 teams. We know on the other side with Pool B action that it is number 2 Maranatha, number 3 Geneva that will come out of that pool. Just not certain who's going to be where. We'll find that out tomorrow morning. And if Bob Jones and Emmaus do what they're supposed to do, which they are on their way to doing so, then those would be the top 2 teams, and number 8 Randall, number 5 Johnson would be mathematically eliminated. But Randall on the other end, not done yet, as they lead Emmaus now 11-7 in that fourth set. So they're trying to find a fifth, or fight to a fifth and decisive set. Boy, if they can steal that one, that really, when you're a lower seed like Randall, the 8, what you're trying to do, your mindset has got to be, we've got to steal one of the top ones. We either got to beat Bob Jones or we got to beat Emmaus. So that ticket, still a lot to be determined who's punching that ticket over there, but Johnson University in all kinds of trouble here on court number 1, trailing 2-0, but leading 1-0 here in set number 3. Rachel Williams punched over the net by Beaver. Tight to the net, good effort there by Knatzer, and it's going to drop in anyway. Ready is Brooke Beaver again behind that service line into the middle. Gardner kind of lost her footing, didn't allow her to elevate the way she would have liked. Quisenberry, a free ball over the net, and Gaston and Beaver nearly collided and not on the same page. It's a point for the Royals. Candace Troxel, back row specialist in. Kelly Wilder, outside hitter, will sit down. Troxel, the senior from Georgetown, Indiana, honorable mention in the region a season ago. And another point for the Royals as they call 4 hits. Troxel, a 4-year starter, a co-captain on this team. Played libero early a season ago. Scholar athlete, 3.9 GPA, and a nonprofit organization major that will graduate in December. Left side, Quisenberry, down the line, it dropped in again. So Johnson out to an early 4-1 lead. Don't make your dinner reservations just yet. Royals trying to extend this to a 4th set. Back set here to Anderson, who tried to go through a double block. Battle near the net between Gaston and Gardner, and they're going to say that Gardner was in the net for Johnson. It's going to be a net violation. And it's going to give the point and the side out to the Bruins. Bob Jones in white, the 1 seed on the near side of your screen. Johnson University, the blue with the orange trim on the far side of your screen. Johnson used to be, Johnson Bible College, used to be the Preachers and the Evangels maybe for the women. Changed their name after they had a contest to try to help name the nickname, a new nickname for the athletic program. Came up with the Royals couple seasons ago. School with more than 40 majors available, 12 sports, men's and women's basketball, men's and women's soccer, men's and women's cross country, men's and women's tennis, men's baseball, men's and women's golf, and women's volleyball. Trying to find some information on that. Yeah, they had a contest trying to come up with a new nickname several years ago as part of that change from Johnson Bible College to Johnson University. And Royals was the decision. This is Monica Gardner, one of their middle hitters, with the serve here to middle hitter Catherine Ring. Attack attempt controlled by the Royals. They go to Ring again. Good dig in that back row. Nicely done. Battle near the net. And it's going to go down as a Johnson point. Well, I couldn't tell who that was, if it was either Cheyenne Zorn or it may have been Sydney Crook. It may have been Troxel for that matter. But somebody got down to their knees quickly to scoop that one up. Gardner to the back row and Beaver. Right side, Gaston way too strong with that cross-court attack, and the Royals continue to play well in this third set. It's 8-3, Vicki Denny a timeout. Timeout on the floor. Third set, number 1, Bob Jones, number 5, Johnson University. The Royals lead the Bruins 8-3 here on the NCCAA Sports Network. For over 90 years, Bob Jones University equipping leaders to make a difference for the cause of Christ. You can find out more by visiting bju.edu. Bob Jones University, learn, love, and lead. For over 50 years, the NCCAA has been promoting outreach and ministry through athletic competition with a Christian perspective. You can find out more by visiting the NCCAA.org. I hope I see my good friend Ben Bellarmine from the NCCAA. First of all, I mean that sincerely, one of the good guys. Love Dan Wood too, but last time I was here, Ben Bellarmine, after the men's basketball championships, took me out to a Mexican restaurant where they were serving all kinds of different tacos. You could put whatever kind of meat in it, and I had a filet mignon taco. And I've got it saved on my GPS, but I can get there, but it's always better when Ben Bellarmine pays. So hopefully he's going to text me tonight or tomorrow and say, Rick Cooper, I'd like to buy you some more filet mignon tacos. 8-3, Johnson University by 5. Rachel Williams to the middle and Catherine Ring, and she strikes again. I tell you, we saw Catherine Ring a year ago, and she was a difference maker. You could tell the talent was there. She was 17 years old at the time, but she has really, really taken a major step forward and is a huge difference maker for this Bob Jones University in the middle. Miscommunication there, Walker and Ring, but they live to talk about it. Heading over the net. On a play by Burgundy Zorn. Here's Ring again. Nice dig by Troxel. Overpass. Can the Bruins take advantage? And apparently they're going to say that one was inbounds. I don't think there was any way that was inbounds. Johnson made the right decision to lay off of that and let it go, but maybe it was the wrong decision. That was a bad call by the R1 up on the ladder. 8-5. Bruins trailing by 3. Back set here to Ring, and that one no good if there was a touch, but there was not. So it's now 9-5. Ready here is Cheyenne Zorn, the sophomore from Corona. 24 aces, 1.7 kills per set. Received in that back row by Beaver. They go down the line to Bates and nearly dropped it in. Good effort there by Quisenberry. Down the line, they feed Bates again. It looks to be another dig, this time by Troxel. Crook, the setter, with an attack attempt of her own, and that one there, the tempo not there between Williams and Ring, and it is now 10-5 Johnson. Even if you don't win this match, what could this do to Robin Vanoy as she continues to try to build this program to take one on the #1 seed? And you better believe that's not what she's thinking right now. Like, let's take one step at a time. Let's take two, and then let's take three. That one there dropped in by Quisenberry, and it sure looks like the Bruins slightly rattled right now. Advantage Royals. Champions of the Mideast region. Received here, Brooke Beaver. Left side, little cut shot handled over there by, I believe, Quisenberry. Dug up, little setter dump right there to handle it was Knatzer. Selena Walker, back set ring, touched up front, dug up back row, tight to the net. And whistle, I think, still playing here. I thought maybe it was on our end. Troxel to Crook. Quisenberry tested the block and could not pass the test. It's an assisted block for Ring and Williams. And it's now 11-6. Ready here is Courtney Bates, the sophomore from Prairie Farm, Wisconsin, who set 7 kills and 8 digs earlier today in their straight set win over Randall University. 46 aces on the year, which is the 3rd best on this team. And as we said earlier, has taken over that outside hitter role, left with the absence of Aaron Jarvis. Jarvis, who tore an ACL in the offseason, fought like heck to get back and get on the floor again, played 8 matches for Bob Jones here early in 2018 and tore the ACL again, the other ACL. So now fighting again to get back for what would be her senior campaign and could actually appeal to the NCCAA should she want to, and would probably be able to get back this season here and would not count in his eligibility. I think right now, what is it, 5 or 6 matches? That's the clear-cut rule, but you can always appeal and ask for leniency. And one of the reasons that might be granted, boy, the NCAA Division III, I think it's 30% that you can play and still get that season back. So the NCCAA, probably the most stringent athletic organization in terms of like a medical red shirt. And so I think there is a little bit of gray area in there, and just a question of whether or not she wants to come back. You know, it sounds good, give me that extra year of eligibility, but there's also a school bill that comes with that extra year. Left side, it's Beaver, cross-court attack handled by Bree Knatzer. Back row attack pushed over by Quisenberry, and it never got there. And even if it would have, it was like a shark smelling blood. Catherine Ring was right there. That thing would have been any higher. Ring would have just hammered it home. 13-9, Royals by 4. We're in the 4th set, make that 3rd set, I beg your pardon. Johnson trying to force a 4th set. Bruins 25-12 in the 1st set, and 25-17 in the 2nd, and you can just feel the momentum shifting right now. Now 13-10, 20-18 Randall at the other end of the floor. They're in set number 4 over there. Randall won the opening set. Emmaus won sets 2 and 3. So Randall trying to force a 5th set on court number 2. Into the middle, punched over by Knatzer. Into the middle on the other side, Anderson touched up front by Burgundy Zorn, handled in that back row by Johnson. And a cross-court cut shot placed perfectly by Brooke Beaver. Boy, Beaver going to be causing problems for a long time. Only a freshman. Came in averaging 3.2 kills per set, 76 aces. Both of those are team highs, and Robin Vanoy trying to stop the bleeding here as the Bruins within 2. It's 13-11 here on the NCCAA Sports Network. Johnson out of the Mideast region. Realignment came in 2016-17. There just were not enough teams in some of these regions, and teams weren't even having to play a region game and earning a ticket to the tournament. The NCCAA came in and said, let's realign. We're going to come up with 4 super regions. We'll have the North, we'll have the South, we'll have the Southwest, and we'll have the Mid-East. And Johnson University, part of a Mid-East region that includes Alice Lloyd. They are a volleyball only in the Mid-East region at the NCCAA 2 level. Appalachian Bible, that is not an active participant. Boys College out of Louisville, Kentucky. Geneva College, that has recently joined the NCCAA Division II Mid-East region in volleyball. Grace Christian, formerly Grace Bible College out in Grand Rapids. Great Lakes up in Lansing, Michigan. Johnson University and Simmons College of Kentucky. Welch College, part of that Mid-East as well. Kentucky is moving out of the Mid-East region, moving out of Division II. They have already taken their volleyball, some of their soccer and basketball, but there are a couple programs still hanging around in that Mid-East region for this, their final season. So back to volleyball as Johnson clinging to a 2-point advantage and a little setter dump. They have really contained Rachel Williams with that. Has tried it a couple times, and the Johnson libero was right there to play it, but not that time. And the Bruins are within 1. It's 13-12. Serve up coming here for the libero, Selena Walker. Received back row by Burgundy Zorn. Little give and go as they give it right back to Zorn. In tight to the net. Good play by Beaver to get it over and not go into the net. And that one going to drop in. Some power on that left side by Kelly Wilder. And Johnson has opened up a 2-point advantage. It's 14-12. Knatzer in. Burgundy Zorn will sit down. So Johnson up front with Kelly Wilder. Up front with Sydney Crook, and up front with Monica Gardner. Left side, deflected up front. Retrieved back row by Quisenberry. Left side, Wilder. A dig there by Selena Walker. Left side, and a block and a touch. Looked like it may have gone out of bounds, but the Bruins put a paw on it after it was deflected at the net, and it's a point for Johnson, who has answered with a couple of their own, and they lead now 15-12. Received back row by Beaver. Into the middle, Anderson, and Quisenberry looked like she was frozen right there. Did not move, and it's now 15-13. Well, she was late getting moving. Ready is Rachel Tubbs-Williams, the senior from Davenport, Iowa. The only senior on this Bruins team is Gardner, as they change pace and feed her in the middle. It's the second time they've done that in this match, where they've gone with a quick set and used the athleticism of Monica Gardner in that middle hitter spot. She's had a good Mid-East region tournament as well. Selena Walker on serve receive. Free ball over the net by Brooke Beaver up front. And a free ball by Knatzer on the other side. Down the line, feeding Beaver. And a dig attempt there, and it will go down as a dig. And an attempt up front by Gardner. Left side, Beaver, scooped up by Wilder. Free ball again over the net by Crook, the Johnson setter. Middle hitter, Anderson. A touch and a dig by Knatzer. Bruins out of system. Quisenberry to Crook. Right side, dropped in. And it was actually, Crook feeding Cheyenne Zorn. Solid effort there by the Royals. It's now 17-13. Sydney Crook, the freshman from Maryville, 54 aces on the year. First team Mid-East region performer, and a tough time to have a service error. Now 17-14. This is Brooke Beaver, the freshman from Kissimmee, Florida. Little quick set again with Gardner, who strikes again. Well, you don't want to say go to that every time, but it has yielded pretty big dividends when they use the athleticism of Gardner. She may be a little undersized when you go slow and have to force her to go against a girl like Catherine Ring, but you allow her to get there a little bit quicker, use that athleticism, and she has been very successful. Anderson with an attack attempt. Handled by Johnson. Quisenberry, a flat-footed attack from that back row. Left side, touch up front. Troxel to dig. Right side, Crook. Make that Cheyenne Zorn. Right side, Gaston. A dig by Troxel. Left side, Quisenberry, and hit the antenna. Big play there. Could have been 19-14. Instead, it's 18-15. Selena Walker will sit down, the libero for Bob Jones. Catherine Ring has checked back in. She has been a force in that middle hitter spot. Big swing over there, deflected up front, and a back row attack by Brooke Beaver. Controlled back row by Johnson and Sydney Crook, and going to give the side out to the Royals. Substitution in. The libero Knatzer sits down. Back in to swing up front is Cheyenne Zorn. It's now 19-15. Looks like Emmaus has just taken care of Randall at the other end with some extra volleyball, now 27-25. So Randall was trying to force a fifth and decisive set. That match is over. Emmaus wins it in 4. They win 3 in a row after the Saints had won the opening set, and Catherine Ring, a little dink attempt of her own that was scooped up there by Crook, the setter. There's a dig in that back row by Gardner. Quisenberry with a big swing. Back onto the Royals side of the net. Back set there by Williams. Right side, it's Cheyenne Zorn, and how did she drop that one in? Now 20-15. Royals by 5. Boy, they continue to fight. Ready is Gardner on a float serve that Walker had to come in from that back row to save the day. Down the line, it's Quisenberry, deflected, and good effort by Johnson, but it drops in for a Bob Jones point. Boy, the second team All-American, Quisenberry, is not going down without a fight. She continues to swing, and well, she is so aggressive, attacking the volleyball. 20-16, Bob Jones trailing by 4. With it here is Muckenschnabel. We have not called her name a lot in this match tonight. Muckenschnabel to Williams, to Ring, and a good effort there by Knatzer. Put over the net on a free ball by Quisenberry. Left side, Zorn. I beg your pardon, not Zorn, that's Abby Plew, who has checked in. Plew played sparingly in that win against Randall earlier today, but did give Regina Delosier some good minutes. 20-17. Blue Crew wants this thing won here in set 3. Johnson trying to find their way to a 4th set. Little setter dump that they handle again. Knatzer doing a good job, kind of like a linebacker watching a quarterback who runs, really keeping a good eye on that setter, Rachel Williams, and some of those setter dinks that she's so good at. Ring with a little slide attempt. And what? They're going to say it was 4 hits and it never got over the net. I think Bob Jones felt like there was a touch there, but our R1 says and Vicky Denny going to call a timeout. We're in the 4th set. It's Johnson University 21, Bob Jones 17. The Royals have life here in set number 3. NCCA National Championship action brought to you by Aramark, where we dream and we do. For over 50 years, the NCCAA has been promoting outreach and ministry through athletic competition with a Christian perspective. You can find out more by visiting the NCCAA.org. The NCCAA corporate headquarters right here in Greenville, South Carolina. They love this championship here at Bob Jones. Get to sleep in your own bed. It'll be here for another year. They're hoping to get some bids to move this somewhere. Guess it possibly could go back to Kissimmee, Florida. That's where men's and women's soccer are headed. Bob Jones committed to hosting men's and women's basketball here in the month of March, and then that contract will expire. I've heard some schools have interest. Bids are expected for that national championship. I know they want to keep the men and women together. I think Johnson University obviously would be a good place. Brandon Perry, the athletic director, probably watching somewhere in Knoxville. Got that beautiful ARC facility opening up in the month of March. Pensacola has had good facilities. I know they have had an interest over the years, but we'll see where it ends up. But they have done an outstanding job, and it's kind of one of those situations you don't want to be the next guy after you have a national championship like this. I mean, every aspect of what they do here is done with excellence. You hear schools, you hear churches talk about the core value of excellence, and then so many times they are anything but excellent. That is not the case here at Bob Jones University. So whoever submits a bid for this championship, thou shalt do it with excellence, or don't submit a bid. 21-18. Received back row by Quisenberry. Left side, it's Burgundy Zorn, dug up by Selena Walker, punched over the net and dropped in again. So now 21-18. Bruins trying to rally and finish it right here. 22-18 is what our scoreboard says here, but scoreboard here in the arena says, here we go. We got it right now, 21-19. We have had all kinds of trouble at that scorer's table tonight. We'll just leave it at that. It has been a rough night for the scorer's table. Into the middle, Burgundy Zorn, scooped up by Bates, and tight to the net. Not much that Brooke Beaver could do with it. Now 22-19. Here comes Wilder up front. Troxel, the defensive specialist, will sit down. Quisenberry will serve it here. Junior from Seymour, Tennessee. And an ace for Quisenberry. 3-year player, 3-year starter. Part of last year's national championship team or national tournament team. And one of 9 players on this roster from the Volunteer State. And it's an ace again by Quisenberry. 24-19. Johnson University with a chance to get their first set win of this 2018 championship. And that one too strong out of the hand of Quisenberry. Johnson University did not win a set a season ago when they came to this tournament. Trying to continue to take steps forward. This one would send them to a 4th set. Burgundy Zorn scooped up back row by Muckenschnabel, and an attack by Brooke Beaver is not there. And Johnson University says, don't buy our plane tickets home just yet, Brandon Perry. 25-20, the Royals win in set number 3. We'll have set number 4 from Bob Jones University between number 1, Bob Jones, number 5, Johnson. It's the 2018 NCCAA National Championships here on the NCCAA Sports Network. So the Royals go 0-3 in last year's national championship, 0-9 in sets, and no matter what happens in this 4th step, they take another step forward as they get a set win against number 1 overall seed Bob Jones University. But again, the Royals by no means done. We'll see if they can continue to wreak havoc here. Everything else done for the day. Emmaus, a 3-1 winner over Randall University on the other side of this gymnasium. So what we know at this point is Emmaus is 2-0 on day number 1. And Randall University is 0-2. So Randall University mathematically eliminated. Johnson University and Bob Jones, the only match left to be determined. And basically, if you're Bob Jones and you lose this match, you still have a chance to find your way to the national semifinals with a must-win then tomorrow against Emmaus. If you're Johnson University, you are on life support right now, my friends, and you need to replicate, duplicate, imitate what you just did 2 more times. You've got to knock off Bob Jones here tonight. You go to 1-1, and put yourself in a position tomorrow to maybe find your way into a 3-way tie. But at that point tomorrow, you would root for Emmaus if you were Johnson, right? And Emmaus would go to 3-0. Johnson would win tomorrow and go to 2-1. I mean, we're talking hypotheticals here, of course. And there would be no tiebreaker at that point. You would have Bob Jones at 1-2, Johnson at 2-1, and Emmaus at 3-0. So it's a best-case scenario for the Royals. They win tomorrow, Emmaus wins tomorrow, and they win tonight. And they find their way to the national semifinals. And some of that could very easily happen. The challenge is, do they have it in them to win 2 more sets tonight against the number 1 overall seed? Gardner on the opening attack attempt of this 4th set. Could not convert, but ball kept alive by Bob Jones. Shot to the back middle by Beaver. Battle near the net. Good effort there to keep it alive by Crook, the Johnson setter. And 1-on-1, Laura Gaston just won the battle there against Kelly Wilder. So it's 1-0 here early. Bob Jones on the far side of your screen is the number 1 overall seed. Good serve there by Williams. That nearly dropped in for an ace. Left side, Beaver strikes again. She was kind of the missing piece, if you will, in that 3rd set was MIA, and she was the difference maker in sets 1 and 2. Rachel Williams with another serve here, scooped up by Quisenberry. Tight to the net, battle between Anderson and Crook. Now a swing to the middle by Anderson, a dig back row by Knatzer, an attempted dig. And it's now 3-0. Back row, it's Quisenberry. To the middle, it's Gardner. Selena Walker going to play setter on this one. And it's an overpass, and Gaston hammers it home. 4-0 quickly. I know Robin Vanoy wants to protect those timeouts, but you can't take them to Knoxville with you. Make a point here, and you better get a TO, baby. Left side, it's Gardner, and an attack here or there. My friend Dickie V was here and be yelling, get a TO, and she's going to call it. Timeout on the floor. Bob Jones trying to put things away early in this 4th set. They've opened up a 5-0 lead on the Royals. They lead 2-1. 2018 National Volleyball Championships here on the NCCAA Sports Network. Now back here at Bob Jones University, and it is now 6-0. Coming out of the timeout by Robin Vanoy in a danger spot here, to say the least. Royals need a point, and they need it right now. Right side, Gaston a couple feet behind the line, and it was blocked up front, and it drops in for a Royals point. Much needed. Vicki Denny, 62 years old, still with plenty of energy, cheering on her squad on the Bob Jones University bench. Boy, Beaver had a little bit of trouble on serve receive. The libero Walker kind of there to save the day. Right side again, it's Gaston, and that one dropped in. Boy, they've gotten Gaston about 2 or 3 feet behind the net. And that's a spot that you'd like her to swing the next 20 times. And she is much more effective right up against that net, and got a block on the first attempt, and that one there Johnson probably should have handled but did not. Beaver into the net. No, that's not Beaver. That's Courtney Bates. I beg your pardon. Johnson 1-1 against the national tournament field coming in. They split 2 meetings with Toccoa Falls. Bob Jones University 3-0 against the national tournament field, and all 3 of their wins against the Screaming Eagles from Toccoa Falls as well. And that one there, nicely done by Jordan Anderson. Was not much resistance at the net to contest that one. And it's quickly now 8-2 and a danger spot again. Royals need to stop the bleeding right now. Into the middle, Gardner, did she drop it in? No. That was so effective in that third set, and everything about that one looked good, but Gardner just could not keep it in play. Now 9-2. Out of system here, and it's a free ball over the net by Knatzer. We'll see if Bob Jones can take advantage. Ring got a pretty good look, but could not get much on it. Quisenberry tested the block, and it was Ring and Gaston that'll get the assisted blocks there. Now 10-2. Maybe time to talk about it again. This is danger time right here. Tight to the net. Punched over the net by Gardner over Ring's extended hand. Free ball over the net. Back set here. Setting up Crook. Make that Cheyenne Zorn. And that one blocked back onto the Johnson side. It's 11-2. And things unraveling here for the Royals from Johnson University. Ready is Anderson. Down the line. And they try to set up Quisenberry, and it never got there. Hit it into the middle of the net, and it's now 12-2. Boy, you got to call that second timeout right now. I mean, you just have to settle the troops down. They are unraveled right now. Gardner deflected and drops in. 12-3. Substitution, Burgundy Zorn in for Johnson. Selena Walker in for Bob Jones. Anderson will sit down for the Bruins. Kelly Wilder sits for the Royals. Received back row by Beaver into the middle ring. Good emergency contact back there by one of their defensive specialists, Candace Troxel. Into the middle, not on the same page, and out of bounds. Selena Walker came in and hit that third ball because Catherine Ring wasn't in the spot that Rachel Williams thought she was going to be in. So Johnson with a couple points in a row. It's now 12-4. Received back row by Beaver into the middle. Gaston, and that attack attempt never got there. And it's now 12-5. So the Royals with 3 in a row trying to fight their way back in this fourth set. Little quick set to Ring. Stuff back onto the Bob Jones side. Right side, Gaston, who got a touch up front. And it goes out of bounds. So it'll go down as an attack for Gaston. We'll check out of this game as Muckenschnabel will come in to serve and play back row. (13-5). Bob Jones, the number 1 overall seed, looking for their 33rd win of the year and a ticket punch to the national semifinals. Left side, testing the block was Quisenberry. Ring got a lot on it, but it was just a little bit higher in her hand than she would have liked. Maybe a little bit too much power, too. Could not do much with it. Quisenberry the attack. It's now 13-6. Back set here to Ring, and good effort there by Cheyenne Zorn, feeding Quisenberry again. Little setter dump. Knatzer really has read those well. Cheyenne Zorn scooped up back row by Muckenschnabel. Back row attack by Beaver, and it drops in again. Well, you folks watching in Knoxville, Tennessee, are going to watch a replay of this. How many times have you seen that tonight? Balls dropping between two players that not communicating very well. Ready is Courtney Bates. And that one is in. Knatzer decided to let it go on that back row. It'll go down as an ace for Courtney Bates, who came in with 46 of them coming in. As an older sister, Amanda Bates, that's going to play basketball at Bob Jones, out this semester with an illness that she's taken care of. But Eventually will come back and play as a younger sister that's going to come in and play basketball eventually at Bob Jones as well. Talking about Courtney Bates. Substitution, Kelly Wilder in. Candace Troxel will sit down. Lead is 9 for the number 1 seed. It's 15-6. The serve here out of the hands of Quisenberry. And an ace here. Boy, Quisenberry was a beast behind the service line in that 4th set. Had several aces at a critical juncture late in that 3rd set, I beg your pardon. Well, if you're Robin Vanoy, you'd like a carbon copy of that right here. Crook gonna punch it over. Williams on a second pass, giving it to Beaver. There was a touch, good effort by Knatzer. And a free ball over the net by Wilder, and they're gonna call a double hit on Kelly Wilder. And the side out to Bob Jones. Ring is gonna sit down as Jordan Anderson will come back in and play front row. Ready is Selena Walker. Flat-footed serve, picked off back row by Quisenberry, and then a changed pace as they find Burgundy Zorn in the middle. And Zorn a quick kill, and she checks out as Monica Gardner will check in. 16-9, lead is 7. Into the middle, Beaver. Took something off of it, good play by Crook, and an attack down that line. Nothing taken off of that. That was Jordan Anderson at full speed, and she hammered it home. Muckenschnabel will sit down. Gaston is back in. Rachel Williams, number 1 in the country in assists. Behind that service line. Into the middle, Gardner. They keep it alive, but they can't do it. Good effort. We don't want to beat a dead horse, but they have found something in the middle with the sophomore from Cross Plains, Texas, talking about Monica Gardner. Best athlete on this team, and you get glimpses of it there. Down the line again, out of system a little bit. Beaver just fortunate to get it over, and Gardner deflected back onto the Johnson side of the net. This one hit over the net by Cheyenne Zorn. Down the line, Gaston touched up front, scooped up by Knatzer. Got to be a free ball here by Wilder, and it is. Attack by Beaver is too strong. So the Royals down a half dozen, 17-11. Number 1 leads number 5. Sydney Crook, the freshman from Maryville, 54 aces, which is a team high. Anderson scooped up back row on a dig by Quisenberry. Into the middle again, it's Anderson. Attack upcoming by Zorn, who dropped it in again. Took it over the double block attempt by Beaver and Anderson. Substitution coming in, Abby Plew, the 5'9 freshman from Anderson, Indiana, that has played better of late, as Courtney Bates will sit down. Lead is 5, 17-12. Johnson, do they have one more rally in him? Pushed over the net by Beaver. Back set here to Cheyenne Zorn, and a touch, and it drops in, 17-13. Walker was right on that sideline. That attack wasn't going to stay in play, but Selena didn't know it. Tried to make a play on it, got a left hand on it, but could not keep it in play. 17-13. The Royals within 4. Received back row by Beaver. Little give and go as they give it to Beaver. Scooped up by Quisenberry. Hustling was Knatzer. Zorn, an attack. Walker, right side Gaston, too strong. It's 17-14. And Vicki Denny with a look of concern as she looks at our R2 and says, I need a timeout. Timeout on the floor. We're in the 4th set. Final pool play action of the day. Number 1, Bob Jones, clinging to a 17-14 advantage over number 5, Johnson University. It's the 2018 NCCAA Division II National Volleyball Championships, and you're watching them here on the NCCAA Sports Network. For over 90 years, Bob Jones University equipping leaders to make a difference for the cause of Christ. You can find out more by visiting bju.edu. Bob Jones University, learn, love, and lead. Women's National Championship, women's volleyball. I want to say thanks to all of our sponsors, including Servant HR, Spinks, Aramark, Bon Secours, Integra Bank, and Pepsi. For over 50 years, the NCCAA has been promoting outreach and ministry through athletic competition with a Christian perspective. You can find out a lot more about the National Christian College Athletic Association, and you do that by visiting the NCCAA.org. We look ahead quickly at tomorrow on our court number 1, number 2 Maranatha, number 3 Geneva at 10 a.m., number 1 Bob Jones, number 4 Emmaus at noon, court number 2, 10 a.m., number 6 Toccoa, number 7 Arlington, and court number 2 at noon at number 5 Johnson, number 8 Randall. And that one there hit the tape and nearly dropped in for an ace. Anderson, a flat-footed attack from that back row. Back set to Cheyenne Zorn. A dig there by Gaston. Left side Beaver, who dropped in another. And it's now 18-14. The freshman Beaver has been very special today. Vicki Denny calling her a game-changing recruit, a program-changing recruit, and you see why here today. Dig back row by Quisenberry. Left side Wilder with a big swing and a touch out of bounds. And it's now 18-15. Substitution as Plew will sit down. Courtney Bates is back in. So Bates, Walker, and Beaver in that back row. Williams along with Gaston and Anderson up front for Vicki Denny and Bob Jones. And that attack attempt was blocked at the net and never got over the net, I beg your pardon. No block there, it just didn't get there out of the hand of Anderson. And it's now 18-16. The Royals within 2. Down the line, Bates deflected. Battle near the net. Gardner, did she put it in? She did. 18-17. And Vicki Denny trying to settle the troops down a little bit. This is a spot when we talked to her earlier in the week. She said, Rick, I don't know how battle-tested we are. We've only played 4 5-set matches the entire year. This isn't a 5-set match right now, but it sure feels like it, doesn't it? Gaston right side on a cross-court attack that you couldn't have dropped in any better. 19-17. Bob Jones with the volleyball and a 2-point advantage. Trying to win this here in 4 sets. Some trouble on serve receive. Good effort by Quisenberry and a free ball over the net by Crook. Into the middle ring. Battle near the net with that Johnson front line, and they're going to get a lift on the Bruins, I think, isn't it? Yes, it is. 19-18. And the serve here in the hands of Monica Gardner. Gardner, a sophomore. One of 5 sophomores on Robin Vanoy's roster. Scooped up by Gardner, back row. Crook down the line. Quisenberry, a touch up front. A scoop by Beaver in the back row. Cut shot is dropped in. Well, it's a game of inches. And Laura Gaston with a huge cut shot that she was able to keep in play in that front right position. Boy, in 1919, it could have been. Instead, 2018. Received back row by Troxel. Down the line, right side, battle near the net. Some emergency contact by Selena Walker. Up front, into the middle, Burgundy Zorn. Ring to her knees, punched over and drops in. Selena Walker, they're all everything libero. Makes it 21-18. Junior from Pine Grove, Pennsylvania. 3rd year at Bob Jones, 2-year starter, defensive glue, is what Vicki Denny said. Said the first in the gym and the last to leave. Talking about the junior Selena Walker. Huge play there. 21-18. And a timeout here, I believe, by Robin Vanoy. Probably a good point to call it here. 21-18, lead is 3. Bruins trying to get to 33-5 on the year, trying to get back to the national semis like they did a year ago. Johnson University's 6th national tournament appearance in school history, dating back to 1999, 2001, 2002, 2004, 2017, and 2018. Finding results on some of those old championship appearances next to impossible, but we can tell you last year's team went 0-3 and they went 0-9 in sets. So obviously a huge step forward for the Mideast Region champs, but as Robin Vanoy said, we're not here just to enjoy the experience. We want to win. We want to play Friday night. We want to be on the floor Saturday at 1 o'clock, and so it's a feel-good moment right now, but what they want to do is find their way into this 5th and deciding set. And boy, Johnson, if they could do that, really could put this Bob Jones team as the #1 seed in a very precarious spot where they would have to win tomorrow against #4 Emmaus to possibly get into the national semi. So a lot riding on this for both teams. But obviously a lot more for the team in blue. Troxel on serve receive. Back set here to Cheyenne Zorn. Scooped up by Muck in that back row. And Ring is too strong from that middle hitter spot. 21-19. So Johnson gets a break. Cast in a game of inches a minute ago. Ring misses here. The lead is 2. Cheyenne Zorn and her 24 aces on that service line. Down the line, Beaver had to navigate around the antenna. Good effort. It's got to be emergency contact. It's got to get over the net, and it could not do it. Bree Knatzer did everything she could on a third ball that had to clear the net. It did, but not in play. 22-19. Ready is Bates. Into the middle quickly, and Burgundy Zorn. And on a third ball, well over the net by Quisenberry. And this time it drops in again. With so much resistance up front with Burgundy Zorn and Sydney Crook. Cheyenne Zorn could not get there. 23-19. Royals need a stop, and they need it right now, and they'll get it. As Courtney Bates, a service here that makes it 23-20. Troxel will sit down. Kelly Wilder, their leading returning hitter from a season ago, 2.2 kills a set, has checked back in. Ready is Quisenberry. Received back row, Muckenschnabel. Down the line, Beaver, scooped up by the second-team All-American Quisenberry, and near the antenna, Sydney Crook just led her a little bit too far. Trying to go to the left hand, which was probably the right decision, but could not do anything with it. This is match point. The Royals need 4 to force a little bit of extra volleyball. Selena Walker into the middle. Burgundy Zorn trying to keep it alive. This would win it. And a battle near the net, and they're going to say 4 hits. It never got over the net. 24-21. Gardner comes in the middle. Burgundy Zorn will sit down. The serve here in the hands of Bree Knatzer, the Johnson University libero. And it's going to go down as an ace, and it did. It's 24-22. Vicky Denny really upset right now. Stays in the hands of Knatzer, who's ready again. His float serve picked off back row. This would win it here, deflected, and it does. What an effort by both of these teams. But really the resiliency of Johnson to get themselves back into that match. And then the experience, the leadership of Bob Jones. They have not been in very many of these situations to fight back and finish the job. You compliment both of these teams. Johnson University 26-9 on the year. Bob Jones goes to 33-5, and they stay perfect against Division II schools, now 14-0 here in 2018. Bob Jones wins for the 17th straight time. They have not lost since a 3-2 loss to Owens Community College back on October the 5th. Again, Bob Jones University wins the first two sets. Look like they're going to run away with it. And somebody forgot to tell that Robin Vanoy and Johnson University, the Royals win set 3, 25-20, and very nearly won set number 4 as they come up a little bit short, 25-22. And boy, just a valiant effort. You give credit to Bob Jones again for the way they were able to slam the door late. Laura Gaston, I think about that big cut shot that stayed in bounds, but heroic effort on both ends of the floor. Brooke Beaver was sensational tonight. And you look at Johnson, you think about Quisenberry late in that fourth set with some of her aces. And with both of these teams having a combined 3 seniors, it's 2 programs that continue to take significant steps forward. I want to say thanks to both of these head coaches, talking about Dr. Vicki Denny at Bob Jones University and talking about Robin Vanoy at Johnson University as well. I want to say thanks to the folks that help us run it. Faith Hunter running a camera tonight, Jeff Carr here staying late, David Lurdy, and the executive producer of our broadcast, Mr. Dan Boone. We say thanks to our sponsors. Say thanks to Dr. Neil Ring. We say thanks most of all to you for watching. Again, the final score tonight, Bob Jones a winner in 4, 25-12 in the first, 25-17 in the second. Johnson University 25-20 in the third, and the Bruins win set number 4, 25-22. What it means is this: the top 2 teams in each pool have punched their tickets to the national semifinals. The only thing we're waiting to determine is what seed they're going to be. Bob Jones finishes today 2-0. Emmaus, the 4 seed, finishes 2-0, so they are the teams that will move on out of Pool A. In Pool B, it'll be Maranatha, the 2 seed, and Geneva College making their first ever NCCA Division II tournament appearance. First time they have ever played one of the schools at the Division II level. They will punch their ticket to the national semifinals as well. Johnson University and Randall University in Pool A finish 0-2, and Toccoa Falls and Arlington Baptist, the 6 and 7 respectively, finish 0-2 as well. Tomorrow's matches on court number 1, 10 a.m. It'll be number 2 Maranatha, number 3 Geneva. We'll have that one for you. At noon, it'll be number 1 Bob Jones, number 4 Emmaus. I'll have the call for that match as well. On court number 2, number 6 Toccoa, number 7 Arlington, and number 5 Johnson, and number 8 Randall. That one is slated for a 12 p.m. start. Once we figure out all the teams, where they're at, who they're playing, we'll tell you the national semis tomorrow night. The champion of Pool A will take on the number 2 team of Pool B tomorrow night at 5:30 in semifinal number 1. And in semifinal number 2, it'll be the number 1 out of Pool B taking on the number 2 out of Pool A. The winners of those 2 semifinals will play for the national championship at 1 p.m. on Saturday. We'll talk to you then. For Jeff Carr, Faith Hunter, Dan Boone, David Lurdy, and our entire NCCAA Sports Network broadcast team, my name is Rick Cooper, saying so long from Bob Jones University, the site of the 2018 National Championships. Have a good night, everybody.